Schrodinger's cat and the Raiders of the Lost Quark is simultaneously one of the funniest yet undeniably unrefined modern games I've recently played. The game is a fairly simple 2D platformer, but is filled with so many physicsy jokes that you'll either love it or immediately uninstall. And I don't mean that there's like quite a few of them or something, I'm saying that there's maybe 5 lines of dialogue in the entire game that isn't making a pun or directly referencing something to do with science. And at the same time, I can't even pitch the game as educational. The developers did borrow quite a bit of science terminology to outfit the game, but they most definitely did not intend the game to act as any sort of educational material. It feels like the game came to be simply because a bunch of science nerds and a programmer wanted to play a game that makes non-stop references to the Higgs boson God particle. And frankly, I think that guess is pretty accurate, because despite scoring a solid A+ and writing original science jokes, it's obvious that no one on their team was particularly in tune with the right side of their brain. Although the actual character design is pretty uniform, it most definitely feels outsourced when paired with the, unique artistic choices made for the rest of the game. When I was in uni taking my obligatory marketing class, we had to review a very 90s looking website and do short write-ups on why using different font styles for every little bit of text was sinful. I'm kind of impressed to see a 2014 platformer make similar oversights by having you hunt white creatures on the map with a white background. I guess you can claim it was done purposefully to add some additional challenge to the section, but honestly it kind of carries the same feeling as when you come across someone wearing conflicting colors and immediately realize that they gotta be colorblind. But don't worry, color design choices isn't the only place where the developers just kind of rolled with whatever they were rolling at the time. The most glaring, blaring error is probably the lack of volume equalization at some points of the game. The base game and cutscenes are edited just fine, but the sound volume during boss areas is very noticeably much louder.
What the?
I woke the Tron.
Whoa!
Oh god. Not quite sure how that got overlooked, but it did. And then there's the random unfortunate game design choices that are honestly just annoying at worst. You know, things like getting accidentally pinned by other characters, or taking damage from sludge that's technically behind a wall. There were plenty of similar things that left me miffed, but none that seriously affected gameplay. What did affect gameplay, however, is the non-standard control design for the game. See, outside of just running, jumping, and punching things like you would do in any similar platformer, the game also includes this sort of quick build system, where you collect materials called quarks and then input quick combos for additional platforming maneuvers. Things like creating your own moving platforms, or creating a helicopter to help you fly for a bit, or shooting an energy blast to bash through walls and get out of dead ends. Overall, this mechanic is very interesting and fun. It's an entirely new spin on the platformer genre, where you're either at the complete mercy of however the map was created, or just end up skipping entire sections until you unlock that one ability that knows half the game. Instead, this game puts up just enough obstacles not to be too easy, but also grants you insane map control by allowing you to so far as destroy all the platforms for the giggles, if you want. At the same time, there are maps where the game limits the number and types of quarks you have, meaning you're limited down to 1 or 2 combos you can actually pull off. This means you actually have to think and plan ahead where and how you use your special moves. Because your abilities are largely expanded and limited by the quarks, you can't simply cheat any part of this game by using an endgame ability to rush your way through. Surprisingly, it turns out that needing to think about what you're doing is quite refreshing. However, the major drawback here is having to learn the combo controls in the first place. Considering how short the game is and how different the combo system is from similar games, it might actually take you most of the game to get used to the controls in the first place. This limits the time you can spend simply goofing around with your own abilities, but at the same time, there are no low periods in the game because it makes sure that you're trying different combos and tactics fairly regularly. In short, this game has a lot of personality. Despite looking weird, sounding weird, and feeling weird, it's probably one of the more pleasant gaming experiences I've had in a while. Amidst all of its design flaws and frustrating controls, it's obvious that this was a passion project for the developers. And frankly, there's something so sincerely wholesome in playing a game that is just there to entertain. No politics, no ethical message, just puns, jokes, and references. If I recall correctly, I played through this a few days before beginning my ukulele run, and I gotta say, the 10 hours I spent laughing and cringing at this game are worth a whole lot more to me than the 30-something hours I spent on the other.